cursory conversation for folks who are going to be participating in the upcoming project about what the project's about and some of the lean tools that we're going to be using, so that when they come into the project, they can go ahead and we can all just kind of get started having a basic understanding of what lean is and what the project's about. But before we go ahead and jump in, for those of you who are joining us, you may know many of us, but we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. We'll tell you who we are and our role and what we're going to be doing in the project with you. And I'll start. I'm the host of this session. My name is Dawn Kaliszewski, and I am the CQI facilitator here at Lake St. Louis. And within the project itself, I'll help to facilitate that as the team works through the amazing work I know that they're going to be doing. So, and then we'll go ahead and just kind of go around our panel and introduce ourselves.
Awesome. Well, hi everyone. I'm Catherine Moore. I'm one of the staff clinical pharmacists here at St. Joe's Lake St. Louis, and I'll be our process owner for this project.
Hi, I'm Tracy Williams. I'm the Director of Pharmacy here at Lake St. Louis, and I'm the event leader.
Fantastic.
And I'm Tracy Omer. I am a continuous quality improvement manager here in St. Louis for the St. Louis region, and I am supporting all the lean efforts here at Lake St. Louis.
Fantastic. Thanks for taking time to do that. And what we'd like to do throughout this session is talk about lean, because we're using and applying lean philosophies within this project. And we want to understand lean, we want to understand some of the project basics, and we want to talk about some different tools like A3 thinking and flow cells that we're going to be using throughout this. So why don't we go ahead and get started, and Tracy, I'm going to go to you first. If you wouldn't mind kind of helping us understand what this lean thing is all about.
Sure.
And the philosophy behind it and why we're using it.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to start with first saying what lean is not. Lean is not about cutting people. It's not about removing jobs. What lean is, it's about a cultural change where we have respect for people, respect for our staff, respect for patients, as well as respect for society at large. And it's also understanding that improvement is continuous. It's not a one and done, we fixed it. It's really recognizing that there's always room to do better. There are several principles that are very important in lean. The first one is that the patient really defines value. So when we're looking at our processes, we're oftentimes trying to remove waste. We're trying to remove those unnecessary steps from the process. And we're looking at that from the patient's view. So what is it that the patient's here for? And we're trying to take out those steps that are wasting our time or wasting the patient's time or causing error, that sort of thing. The second thing is we want to improve the flow of the patient care throughout the system. So we want to make sure we're delivering care when the patient needs it and where the patient needs it for whatever service they're looking for. The third thing is the fact that we want to standardize. So we're not trying to create robots here, but we are trying to standardize our processes so that we're reducing the variation. That helps to reduce error. It also helps create a basis from which we can then improve upon that standard. So we always say that the standard work is the best known way today to do a process, and then we as a group, once we determine that it's time to do it a little bit better, then we as a group kind of determine what the next standard, the better standard is going to be from there. Fourth principle is about a deep personal experience in improvement. So in years past, a lot of times perhaps maybe management leadership would make decisions in their office, and they would kind of get together in meetings and say, this is how we think we're going to improve. And we're changing that now. We're saying, let's actually get out to where the work is being done. Let's get ourselves involved in these improvements. Let's also have staff who are doing the work become involved in the improvements. So they're the ones who are the experts, right? They know kind of where the problems are. They know how to help fix it. So it's becoming engaged, becoming more aware of what everyone else's experience is within those processes. The fifth one is kind of goes back to that respect for people. It's called mutual respect and shared responsibility. So again, we're all trusting one another as experts in what we do, and we're also sharing the responsibility for ensuring that these improvements that we're creating are being held to, that we're all following the standards that we create together. So that's it in a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, yeah.
No, that's wonderful. I really especially liked how you talked about the respect piece of it, and the respect for our staff members, the respect for our patients, and it's really so mission driven. So that's really exciting that we're gonna embrace philosophies and tools that really support our mission.
Yes.
So that is that we're, in the project, we're gonna be talking about A3 thinking, and it's a way to solve problems. And Tracy, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind sharing with us a little bit about that, because I know that you have been training our green level lean awareness classes, and A3 thinking and that problem solving process really is a big piece of that training. So would you mind sharing with us a little bit about that?
Sure, we have to. So the A3 thinking is really just a standardized systematic approach for problem solving. And when you go through the 9 steps or the 9 boxes in A3, it actually leads you stepwise down the path to come up with a way to understand what the real problem is, what the barriers are, and then also the solutions. And what it does is it eliminates that rework that you would have. So if you just sort of think through a solution and you just throw something out there and say, let's try it, then oftentimes that methodology, you almost have to always rework that, and you find out that it's not the best answer. And so then it just creates rework. And so by doing the A3 thinking, it eliminates that waste and that rework and that frustration. So like I said, it's a 9-step approach. So the 9 boxes, the first box, what we call box 1, is really that call to action, or what's the burning platform, or the thing that is bothering us, the thing that we're trying to solve and to fix that we just don't like. Then box 2 is really what's our current state? Where are we at right now, using some metrics so that we know where we're starting from. Box 3 is our goal state. So where do we want to be when we're finished with this? You know, what's our kind of ideal state, if you will? And so we start off that way so we know kind of where we are, where we want to go. Box 4, as we work through box 4, the 4th step, tells us what are the barriers to us getting to that goal state. So what things are hindering us, or obstacles that we need to work through so that we can get to that goal state. And then box 5 is really our solutions. And so we say, if we do something, then we expect something to happen. So kind of an hypothesis, if you will.
Like science class.
Yeah.
Exactly, very science. Box 6 is our experiments, and so those are what we set up to do, because we say if this is going to be our standard way of doing it, let's work through that. Let's see if it really works as designed. We go through that. And then box 7 is what we call our completion plan. So what are all the steps, all the things that we need to do to make this project work? And so, there will be a series of them. We'll assign them just to one person. So Catherine may be assigned to one thing, another team member will be assigned to something else. Then box 8 is our confirmed state. And so really, as we go through this process and as we roll out the project and our standard work, box 8 is the confirmed state if we meet those metrics. So remember, box 3 was our goal state of where we wanted to be. So as the project goes on, after the implementation, if those metrics are met in box 8, then we know that we're successful. So if box 3 equals box 8, then we can call that successful, or at least trending in that direction. It doesn't have to be exact, but at least we're moving in that direction. And so that's box 8. And then box 9 is really just the insights, or the things that we've learned during the process, and what's gone well, what's not gone so well, what are the aha moments, or the things that we're really proud of, or that we've learned throughout this process. So those are the 9 steps, or the 9 boxes of the A3 thinking, if you will. And we can do something easy, like just as an example, we can talk about one of the examples we use in our green training class is what we call Operation Get Skinny. And we actually borrowed it from another hospital, but it makes it simple so that the participants in the class kind of understand it. And so, maybe your box 1 of your call to action is, I'm tired and I'm overweight and this is my current weight and I don't feel good, and so I got to do something about it. Then box 2 is the current state. So here's what my current weight is. Here's what my current labs are. Here's maybe how much I exercise each day. And then you have box 3 of your goal. And so maybe my goal is that I want my weight to go down by maybe 10%. I want to exercise maybe 4 times a week, those sort of things. So that's my goal. And then I look at box 4, which are my barriers or my gaps, and it's, I don't really have a diet plan, I don't have a membership to a gym, that sort of thing. So those are the barriers to it. And then the solution is that if I start exercising, I'm gonna lose weight. You know, if I start coming up with a meal plan, I expect that I'm going to, you know, be successful and lose weight. My experiments might be that I join a gym. I start to exercise and sort of make those as my experiments. And then my completion plan is obviously that I need to join that gym and I need to download something from an app onto my phone so that I can keep track of that. And then obviously box 8 would be my confirmed state. So if my weight truly does go down, my 10% is my goal. If I truly am exercising those 4 times a day, or 4 times a week, excuse me, then, you know, then my goal state and my confirmed state, they match, then I know I'm going, and I'm going in the right direction. And then just the last one obviously is the insights that, you know, I realized that, you know, I was a bump on a log, I wasn't doing anything, I needed to do this, you know, what didn't go well, I didn't download that app right away, and I should have, and so that, you know, stalled the process a little bit. So you can really use A3 thinking in everyday life, it doesn't have to just be in, you know, one of these lean events, so.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. It's a problem-solving process, right? Now, in the project, we'll be documenting formally so that everybody can see the amazing work that's being done. But absolutely, we don't have to have that document before we can start applying the A3 thinking to what we're doing and what we're trying to solve.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So we've given folks a little bit to think about. They're thinking about this lean philosophy and they're thinking about now what this A3 thinking. And we're going to give them a little break and let them kind of digest that. And we'll come back in another session to see how that A3 thinking applies to the project that we're doing and where we're at.
Great.
So for right now, we'll take a little break and we'll come back in another session and share just a little bit more. But for right now, we'll go ahead and sign off. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in our next session.
Thank you.